So the closest thing I've read to Stranger Things is this graphic novel, Paper Girls by Brian Vaughn and Cliff Chiang. Some people call this the Stranger Things comic, but this book actually came out a year before Stranger Things premiered. There's an interview out there with the creator saying that he avoided watching Stranger Things for years just to make sure he didn't accidentally copy any of their ideas. But obviously there's some shared DNA there. Both of them have that 80s Spielberg and Stephen King feel to them, so you'll definitely have that classic kids on bike trope with walkie-talkies and a little bit of mystery. And so this story takes place on the morning hours of Halloween 1988, and we follow 4 paper girls who get caught in the middle of a time travel war. Now, there's not a lot of context in this book. We're immediately kind of thrown in the middle of the street. There's weird dudes walking around, the sky is neon pink, there's flying dinosaurs, spaceships inside of a basement, and everyone in the neighborhood has suddenly vanished. Now, this mystery aspect makes this book really fun to read. You're basically as confused as the characters trying to figure out what's going on. And when comparing it to Stranger Things, the characters here feel like grittier versions of the kids. 2 of them specifically remind me a little bit of Max and Dustin. Now, I would say this version of the 80s isn't as nostalgic as Stranger Things. Immediately, these girls have to deal with sexual harassment. We hear a bunch of characters dropping slurs. So don't expect the family to be as wholesome as the Wheeler family. It's a world that is much darker than the one in Stranger Things. But I really enjoyed reading this one. It's fast-paced. I finished it in about 30 minutes, and it kind of leaves you with a lot of unanswered questions. There's also an Amazon show out there that has since been canceled. I haven't seen it, but the reviews are mostly positive. And I'm not sure when I'll pick up the next volume of this one, but if you finish the series, let me know in the comments if it's worth continuing. Okay, next up is Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. You might know him as Nick Cutter, the guy who wrote The Troop, and this is a much cozier style of horror than what his fans might be used to. It's a young adult's coming-of-age mystery book, another kids on bike story set in a small town. And this story follows Jake and his friends as they investigate local legends and ghost stories. And also joining them is Jake's weird, fun uncle named Uncle Calvin. He's got that Dumbledore Grateful Dead t-shirt vibe to him, and he's the owner of a mysterious artifact shop and just an expert on all things monsters and supernatural. He even has a dedicated ghost line in his shop, so he has this whole Ghostbuster style thing going on. And he just reminds me a lot of Murray from Stranger Things. And I just love how quirky he is and how he played along with his nephew's imagination. And so these weekly Ghost Club missions start as fun escapes, and then things start to take a dark psychological turn. So I really enjoyed this aspect of the book and how it explores that ghosts aren't always spirits. Sometimes ghosts are memories. And of all the books on this list, this one is definitely the most heart-wrenching. It's an unexpected tearjerker for sure, and I think one you'll enjoy. Okay, this is Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. It's a coming-of-age classic and in my top 10 favorite books of all time. I fell in love with this book the same reason that I fell in love with Stranger Things. It just reminded me so much of all of my favorite films growing up. The Goonies, Stand By Me, E.T., The Sandlot. Just classic, magical, nostalgic stories of kids being kids and letting your imagination run wild. And to me, this book felt like a time machine to much simpler times. It made me think of my childhood and the summers I spent riding bikes with friends, the summers I would spend playing baseball, 4th of July parties, going camping with friends, first crushes, first dogs, first real life dangers. And the sensory details in this book are just so incredible that not only does it take you back to Alabama in the 60s, but it will have you remembering things about your life that you haven't thought about in a long time. It feels a lot like those sequences in the Stranger Things flashbacks in the final season when you're seeing all those scenes from season 1 when they're playing D&D in the basement, Hopper and Eleven, Will in his tent. And those are some of my favorite sequences of that final season because we basically saw these kids grow up over the past 10 years, and that ending was just a bittersweet feeling. We wish we could hold on to these times of our childhoods forever, but we can't. And so it's kind of a reminder to hold on to that magic before we grow up. And this book is that reminder, so definitely check this one out. And last but not least is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. This one has so many similarities to Stranger Things. There's a character named Will and Jim, 2 friends who remind me a lot of Mike and Will. And the villain in the story, Mr. Dark, is kind of like the carnival version of Vecna. And randomly, on an October night, 3 a.m., him and his carnival just kind of appear out of nowhere. And his goal is to build a collection of freaks to fill the carnival tents and attractions. And it's kind of similar to Mr. What's It and how he targets Holly and the other kids to kind of build up his power. And even the way they fight off these villains is similar. The Stranger Things kids use music, Kate Bush's song, to bring back Max. The dad in this novel uses laughter and memories to fight off a character. And they even meet up in a library to try to come up with theories on how they're going to fight off the carnival people. And there's just so many similarities, and I think it just goes to show how timeless Ray Bradbury's writing is and his story, how it influenced Stephen King, who then later influenced the Duffer Brothers. And this story is just like the perfect blend of fantasy, nostalgia, small town horror. This book has all that lyrical writing that we all love about Ray Bradbury's work. He does just an incredible job of setting an eerie mood with his descriptions, and it just makes for a fun reading experience. I could see this easily being a yearly reread for Halloween. You've got that memorable villain, the creepy autumn people, a mysterious carousel, the scary mirror maze. This is just classic Bradbury. And that's the list. If you have any other books with those same Stranger Things vibes, please let me know in the comments. I know Stranger Things 85 just dropped a poster and a teaser. I'm excited to watch that and see what that's going to be like, so let me know if you plan on watching that. Thank you again for watching this video. I appreciate you, and I believe.